Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about something that I like to call the snow globe effect. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Wellness Simplified podcast. Simple wellness tips to help you improve your life without turning it upside down. With your host, award-winning fitness instructor, nutrition coach, and wellness expert, Susie Fevens.
Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't follow me on the other socials, you can find me on Instagram at susie.fevens. That's S-U-Z or Z-I dot F as in Frank, E-V as in Victor, E-N-S, just like it shows in the cover art. On Facebook, I'm facebook.com/confessions of a fitness instructor. And if you want to work with me as your fitness instructor, your coach, your wellness whatever, you can find me at welluniversity.ca. There is lots of free, low cost, and higher touch programs and opportunities there for you. So whatever you need, you can probably find over on welluniversity.ca. Today we're talking about the snow globe effect. Now, I'm under the impression that this is something that I came up with, but I also am not discounting the idea that perhaps I've borrowed this from someone else or someone else inspired this idea and I just don't recall who it is. So I'm claiming that it is my idea, but I'm open to the idea that it's not. So the snow globe effect, we all know what a snow globe looks like, right? We have a lovely little scene or picture inside this bubble, and it's either got fake snow or glitter or something like that that is sitting on the bottom of the snow globe scene, and it's filled with water or whatever that liquid is. I assume it's water. I don't actually know. But when it's just sitting there, when the snow globe is just sitting on your shelf, on your desk, wherever, you can easily see the scene inside. You can see whatever it is, whether it's a nice little winter town scene, a Christmas scene, maybe it is a cityscape from somewhere you visited, what have you, you can easily see it. But when we pick that snow globe up and we give it a real good shake and we get that glitter, that snow, whatever the substance is in your snow globe going, it's a lot harder to see what's happening inside the scene because you have all of this distraction, all of this pretty snow, this pretty glitter floating around that's making it harder to see what you want to see. The idea behind the snow globe effect is when we're in a place of overwhelm, when we're feeling stressed out, when we're feeling like we're short on time, we don't have enough time, enough resources to get everything that needs to be done, our mind resembles that shaken up snow globe. Has all of the snow floating around and it's hard to see the picture beneath. And in our case, it means it's hard to see what it is that is most important that needs to get done. It's hard to have that clear picture. So how do you get to the point when looking at a snow globe that's been shaken up that you can see that image, that scene easily again? Well, you sit it down and you wait a minute or two and you let it settle. Right away, a lot of the bigger pieces will settle and you'll start to be able to see that image more clearly. Some of the pieces will stay suspended for a longer period of time and they will inhibit your ability to see the scene, the image, a little bit. But for the most part, you'll be able to have a pretty clear image within a matter of a minute. And if you continue to let that snow globe settle, the rest of the snow, the glitter, it will settle too, and then you'll be able to clearly see the scene, the photo inside. Can you see where I'm going to go with this? So when our mind is overwhelmed with so many things happening and there's no possible way that we can stop and take a break because there's so much happening and it's already so hard to focus and you're going to run out of time, how can you possibly take time away from your to-do list? Well, it's the snow globe effect. And when you get yourself in that state of overwhelm, it's like someone has shaken up your internal snow globe. It's chaotic, it's frantic, you can't really see what's going on. But when you sit it down and let it rest, even for a minute, things start to become more clear. Now, in real life, it's not quite as easy as just stopping and sitting down. Because if you're overwhelmed and you stop and sit down, you're still going to be overwhelmed. We have to do a little bit of a distraction tactic. So we need to have some activities in our back pocket that will help clear that snow, that glitter from our mental shaken up snow globe, but while also occupying you. Some great options for things that will help you do that. Can you guess what the first one is? Of course you can guess. Of course you can guess. Because if you're listening to this, you know me. You know I'm going to say a walk. If it is nice out and you have the ability to get out of the house, to get away from whatever is overwhelming you, even if it is for 5 minutes, and the weather is decent, go take a walk. Most workplaces allow you a break either in the morning or afternoon or maybe both. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in a traditional workplace, but I'm pretty sure that it is against the labor standards code to not allow employees to have a break at some point during an 8-hour shift or an 8-hour workday. So if you need to use your break time to go for a 5-minute walk, then do that. I know for a fact a lot of people, especially if they aren't smokers, don't take their breaks at all because it's like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to go sit in my office by myself for 10 minutes? Like, what is the point? I'll just get my work done. Well, if you are overwhelmed and you can step out of that environment for 5 or 10 minutes, clear your head, get some fresh air, change your perspective, like you're literally changing your perspective because you're going outside and seeing something different, that could be an extremely impactful way to help that snow settle. Another way is by taking a couple minutes to go listen to a song or 2 songs. Maybe you have a playlist that you curate or a couple playlists that have some songs that really just kind of bring you back into the moment, that really get you pumped or make you feel good. Maybe it's We Don't Talk About Bruno. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But have a couple of those, and if you have to go to hide in the bathroom with your phone and your headphones and listen to that song, sometimes that's what you gotta do. For me, one that I've been enjoying this year is my calligraphy practice. I'm learning modern calligraphy, and you have to slow down, you have to focus in order to make calligraphy letters. So sometimes when I need a break or I need to just focus on one thing, I go and I do my calligraphy practice for the day. Like, these are not crazy things. Sure, not everybody's going to be doing calligraphy, but most people have a couple hobbies. Maybe you stop and you do the Wordle. Today I stopped and I did a couple word puzzles because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and I knew if I just gave myself a few minutes to focus on something else that I would feel better. So I did. I did the Quordle, which is the 4 word puzzles at once. I did the Wordle and all of my other little puzzles that I do in the run of the day. But yeah, a little distraction. And you know what? Then the snow has settled. And sure, your to-do list hasn't changed, but you've let go of that frantic energy, or you've reduced that amount of frantic energy. I've talked about before, when I get in a state of overwhelm, I find myself just picking up pages of paper and like tapping them together, trying to straighten them, sitting them down, picking up a pen, sit it down. When I start to get that chaotic energy, that is my physical representation of that snow globe being shaken up, and I know I need to step away. And it can feel like I don't have time. I literally do not have time. But at the same time, you don't have the time to not step away. Because if you are frantic and you're overwhelmed and you don't know what to do, what to focus, or you can't focus, it's going to take you a whole lot longer to do that same thing than it's going to take you to do it if you step away for 10 minutes. So let's say whatever your project is right now, if that frantic energy, it's going to take you half an hour. But if you step away for 5 or 10 minutes and take a break, and you come back and it takes you 15 minutes because you can focus, that's 25 minutes versus 30. So you actually saved time by having a 10-minute break. And yeah, I know Those are made up numbers. But I also know myself, and I also know human nature, and I know that when we can sit and focus on something, we can get it done a whole lot faster than when we try to do it distracted. When that snow globe, that mental snow globe is shaken up, you are distracted. You have no choice but to be distracted. You need to find a way to release some of that chaotic energy. It might even be going outside or going in a back room or a warehouse or wherever. I don't know where you work, so I don't know what kind of space you have around. Maybe you're going to go do a few exercises. Maybe you're going to go do 25 jumping jacks. Maybe you're going to go do some air squats, some just body weight squats, some wall push-ups, something to actually expend some energy. That's another way that people help to get rid of that chaotic energy, is expending actual energy. Obviously, going for a walk also expends energy, but it's going to depend on the person and the person's situation. But almost always, if you can remove yourself from the situation that is causing you the anxiety, the chaotic thinking, the overwhelm for 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to be able to come back and you're going to be a lot more fresh and have a much better time doing that task once that snow has settled. I've got a snow globe right beside me right now, actually. And as I've been sitting here talking, I shook it up 2 or 3 times, and there's still a couple pieces that are settling back on the floor, if that's what we call it, of a snow globe. But I can see the image pretty clearly. And here we are, less than 12 minutes into the podcast, and I let that happen 3 times. So let that just be your analogy for overwhelm. When you feel that chaotic energy, I have to step away. I have to let the snow settle, and then I'll be able to focus. That is my wish for you. You start to think that, and you start to implement that. Is it going to solve everyone's problems? Certainly not, especially if you have an anxiety disorder or any type of mental health issues. Stepping away isn't simply going to solve the world's problems. But you know what? Forcing yourself to try and focus when you can't focus, that's also not going to solve the world's problems. And the nice thing about this idea is it doesn't cost you any money, and you don't have to go out and buy anything. You just need to figure out a handful of activities that you can do to help distract yourself as that snow settles. We've talked about going for a walk. We've talked about playing like a word game, a crossword puzzle, Wordle. You know the drills. Maybe doing a few exercises, even in your office, just standing up and sitting down out of your office chair. Or another practice like my calligraphy practice. Maybe you want to stop and just draw a little picture. Do a little doodle, etc. But it really can make a big difference, shockingly so, and I hope that this proves useful for you if you implement it. And I do think that it does help if you say, okay, I need to let this snow settle. Like even if you just say it to yourself in your mind, I need to let the snow settle, I gotta step away for a minute. Go lock yourself in the bathroom, maybe you go scroll Instagram. If someone's going to come at you because you've been in the bathroom for 3 minutes, then you might need to report them. So that is today's episode. That is this week's episode, the snow globe effect. We need to let that snow settle. And you know what? Right now, everyone's resistance is lower than usual because of the pandemic, because of all the things that are going on in the universe. That snow, it doesn't take much of a shake to get it really going wild in there. We need to take more steps away. Give yourself grace. Give other people grace. And you may have to suggest to someone else, why don't you take a 5-minute break? Because we all need those reminders. You could also send them this podcast episode. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was useful. Again, you can find me on Instagram at susie.fevens, on Facebook at facebook.com/confessions of a fitness instructor. My blog, obviously, confessionsofaFitnessInstructor.com. And if you'd like to work with me on a paid or a free program, check out Well University, WELL University.ca. Until next time, go let that snow settle.